Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the NRG series where you're joining us for round number 7. We are that much closer to today's top 8 because we've got 8 Swiss rounds for you. 162 players started the day and we're trying to find out which 8 are there. But we're getting some players that I know that they are making some cash this weekend. And of course, once they get into that top 8, they'll get the chance to play for that invitational slot at the end of the year and join some very prestige players, which you'll see on the screen right now. Name 5 of them for me, Corbin. Go.
I'm going to start with, I'll give you 1, 5, and a bonus one because I'm going to call out our team event winners here. Matt Seeking Johnson, Andrew Ellenbogen, Greg Michelle, and then, of course, you saw it yesterday, Benji Solomon, Vinny Fino, and Jack Potter. The team events are a big part of what make up the NRG series. They're going to be a big part of what makes up the NRG series next year. And if you do well in them, you can qualify for the NRG championship like these players have.
And there's no better way of playing Magic is than playing with your buddies and doing well with them. But we've got some players today trying to get themselves on to this end of year championship as well. And they're trying to do it via points if they cannot do it via making top 8 and winning the event itself. Got a lot of players here still bunched within contention. And you see they're still playing out even again to 3 and 3 because every point matters. You'll see that Garrick there at the top is going at 5 and 1. So this round can be that winning in that he will need to get even more points to potentially put away and be the all-time leader with them, as I think both players are shuffling up. So let's head down to that matchup and see what we got in this. We've got Boris Energy versus Is It Prowess. Ethan versus Chad. Who do you like in this one?
2 decks trying to go really quickly right here. I assume that the Energy deck, not that I know a ton about how these particular matchups play out because it's, these are both kind of decks that are good aggressive decks that have not seen just the huge metagame numbers in a while at the same time, at least. But I have to imagine that the Energy deck here has the ability to spam the board in a way that is pretty good against Prowess, as long as you don't get basically one shot out by a slick shot show off in the air, that kind of thing. Of course, that is what the Is It Prowess deck does, is kind of one shot you out of nowhere. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's 2 different versions of an aggro deck here, right? One is going to try and go wide and go over the top that way, and the other one's just going to try to make one big creature and have one big shot, that one big kill. It's capable of going wide themselves with things like Corey Steelcutter, but is not going to be able to do it as well as the Boris Energy decks. One thing we do have, though, is, we know that the cats are very good at making them go right. Oculus Pride, but it has 1 toughness. Card that lines up very well against that. Lava Dart.
That's right. Yeah, Lava Dart could be very clutch here. If we were to look at this in truly old school terms here, obviously the play draw is going to matter, but who's the beatdown? I have to say probably the Is It Prowess deck, right? Your Boris Energy has some good 1 mana removal to interact.
I wonder who's going to be on the play as we kick this off. Down to 6. It looks like we've got Boris Energy, Ethan on the play. Going to start off with a Guide of Souls. Now, that's a nice one. That does dodge the Lava Darts that I was talking about.
Yeah, Guide of Souls probably an ideal start for a lot of reasons here, not least of which is that over the course of this game, it can give you some life, right? Picking up 5, 6 life in a deck that is lava darting you is pretty important sometimes.
Also, I imagine we could read into this probably a bit too much if we want to, but even fetching a basic on turn 1 either knows what is up against Chad here, knows that life total is going to be a thing, but also looking at deck list does have 2 main deck Blood Moons as well. So maybe this is a hedge towards all these combo decks in the room, the amount of Titan that we've seen so far this weekend. I mean, that's what's been getting across the line. Currently undefeated. As Dragon Race Channeler is where we're going to start off the turn on Chad's side into a bauble. Surveil, we're going to put another Dragon Channeler in the graveyard. Arguably a better looking one, in my opinion. Old bordered one. And then we're going to crack the bauble and draw for turn. Draw off that.
Yeah, playing those main deck Blood Moons, does Ethan, you probably train yourself to fetch for basics when possible. Especially when you want to protect your life total here. Although I say that, immediately the Sacred Foundry comes down.
Boom. Discharge on this. We do have access to things like mutagenic growths in the deck. Not entirely sure that's what we'd want to do. If we were able to hit delirium off it, then that would be absolutely backbreaking. But I like this line as well, especially if we can follow it up with another, with an Ocelot's Pride here. That'd be huge.
Yeah, very nice start here for Ethan. He nailed it. Basically ideal.
Absolutely ideal because there's no interaction to stop it. We get the 3rd counter energy, which means we can put 2+1+ encounters on the guide, which means it's going to live longer, which means we're going to need more life, which means later on down the line we can gain more life and start making other things bigger. This is great start here for Ethan.
And you're Chad, and you're like, I've spent 1 mana. Come on.
Yeah, calm down. But not out of the realm, you know what I mean? There's 2 creatures on the board that have got 1 toughness. Lava Dart will be able to do that, but we do need to start applying pressure. First, we're going to try and set up and find that pressure with this
Gosh.
Preordain. Scry 2, draw 1.
Just we talked about play draw mattering, and it sure did, because Ethan is just miles ahead at this point, and it feels like even spending just the 1 mana to Preordain is mana you might not have to spare if you're Chad.
Gonna play a basic mountain. I do see a Bulbul in hand. I do see a Steel Cutter in hand. I see a Lava Dart as well. Can't make out the rest of them. I think it might be mutagenic. I think it might be double Bulbul mutagenic Lava Dart and a Steel Cutter here. And we're going to cash in one of these Bulbuls. We're going to try and go a card deeper. Also see what's coming. This is good for Ethan. Ethan was the one player that got paired down in the 6-0 slot, but realistically, the others are going to ID, and they'll probably ID the next round as well. So if Ethan's able to pick this win up, go 7-0, ID the last round, will be the #1 seed going into that top 8, which means you'll be on the play in the top 8, and you want to be on the play when you're on Boris Energy.
Very much so. Matters a lot, and the follow-up Ragavan here is just going to keep the pressure coming. So that's a hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think, coming in. So Chad gonna opt to interact here with the dart.
That's going to stop that Ragavan, stop any sort of progression. Oh, we're going to flash it back as well to get the pride off. Don't hate it.
I guess you're the beatdown if you're on the play, and that is Chad's just using those darts to actually clear the board. And you know, I guess in that sense, it's just the 1/1 and the Guide of Souls right now. Ethan didn't have a third land.
I think
maybe
we might have...
Chad's got a window.
Did we just draw an Unholy Heat? Do we have Delirium? We've got land, we've got Artifact, we've got Creature, we've got Instant. I think we've got Delirium as well, so we can get the Guide off the board.
Wow, and then has another land drop, so not even setting yourself back too much, and it's eyeing that cutter in hand, trying to figure out if he has a window here.
But we've already fetched shocked, so we're kind of committed to it. We do have a Bulbul in hand to get a token, but I think it's better to get the Guide off this turn. But what do I know?
All right, he's gonna opt. He's got the bobble, so he can get the trigger here. That makes you an additional 1/1. I mean, so you do open up the window here if you're Chad, but I guess you've got your cutter in play, and
but we're 11 life. That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the Guide's only going to do 3. The cat's not going to get in because I've got a 2/2 on this side. Got to be worried about what? Flage is quite scary, but also Ethan's missing land drops.
Yeah. Ethan has 2 cards. I think we know none of them, but we know that they're not lands, which means if one of them is Flage, you have to find a land. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Chad, you were able to get your probably best card once you don't one-shot them out of the game and play, which is Steel Cutter. All right, slams that land, though.
Yeah, Season Pyro, I think, plus Flage. So going Flage first, get the blocker off the board. That's going to be 3 life gained as well, paying us up to 21. Then we can gain an energy, go up to 3. Then we can, if we want to, put this turn's energy into +1/+1 counters and get in for 6 this turn.
Big draw there for Ethan.
Yeah, I can't see the graveyard, but I think there might be 5 cards in there as well. So now the draw of another land, at least an untapped one, is a Flage coming back out of the bin for Ethan. Chad's just deciding, because we do have a mutagenic growth in hand, remember. We could save it from this Flage. I think we've got mutagenic, and we are going to use it. Paying 2 life, remember, Phyrexian means that we can use 2 life instead. So instead of paying 1 green. So you're going to gain 3 life no matter what anyway on Ethan's side. That is going to happen because Flage is resolving. Just the 3 damage is not going to be enough to stop this monk token, which of course has got prowess as well.
So I believe it is a... Gosh, is it a 6 toughness? So it should be...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toughness currently. Move the 2 count, the 3 energy, turn it into 2 counters. Give it a flying token counter as well. So that is 6 coming across. I
Yeah.
think that means Chad is down to 1. If I'm
Yeah,
right.
had the energy there, did Ethan, so able to jump over it so the Corey Steel Cutter can't get in the
Yeah.
way, and Chad doesn't have any more removal.
Picking it up, not enough. It's a strong shot as well, trying to get there when Ethan's at 21. But I think it really came down to that play draw. If you're on the play,
Yes.
you've got that extra momentum, that tempo to keep going and applying threats. Where on Chad's side, he was on the back foot, not having a threat out, not able to chip away, but was able to try and deal with some of the answers that were hitting the board. But it's fine. It's why we have sideboards, and we're going to go start on Chad's side, looking at this 75 that he's bought this weekend, hoping it will get in today's top 8. That's the sideboard. What do you like?
Yeah, this is you want to get as low to the ground as possible, so it's pretty straightforward. Bring in your Unholy Heats, probably some Flood Maw if you really want to interact even more efficiently. But the deck is what it is. You don't want to cut too much around the edges. Maybe you trim down on things like iteration. Perhaps, I don't know. Maybe you decide Corey Steel on the draw is I guess we're going back on the play here, so you
Yeah.
probably like it more there. But yeah, you just want to get low to the ground, interact as much as possible. Spell snares, I think, could probably be pretty useful.
Yeah, I kind of like the if I'm on the play, keep the cutters in. If I'm on the draw, bring the spells in, the
Yeah.
spell snares in to to try and break that up. But it could really just come in now, even though we're on the place, hitting those key cards like a Johnny, like Goblin Bombardment, even things like Fraven's Charm and Voice of Victories are still good hits. 1 mana to answer the 2 mana or potentially your opponent's whole turn is going to be great, and we can do that with mana up, so we can provide our own board presence if needs be. Let's go across and look at Ethan's list, the 75. It's kind of tried, test, and done. We know what Boris Energy does now. There's a few slot cards and a few cards are favored depending on what meta you're expecting. This is what Ethan expects. That's his sideboard. And what do you like?
Yeah, well, we were looking, I guess if you want to there's going to Wrath, I believe, is probably an answer. I honestly don't know what else. The deck looks pretty well set up in the main. You don't need, I guess, the baubles are sort of a question if you're really scared of getting mutagenic growth or lava darted out, perhaps.
Purge, that hits black and red, right? So maybe the Purge is going to be good here. Special Purge.
Yeah, the purge is certainly going to be a reasonable hit because you can hit all of the important one drop or one of all the important creatures. So we got an additional point of removal there. But yeah, really just kind of adding to the edges of your list here does Ethan, because that first game kind of went exactly how you wanted to. Now you just want to up your removal just a little bit. Your interaction, I suppose, is a better way to put that, just a bit, and try not to get one-shotted out as we discussed. In that game, you saw game 1 basically go perfectly according. You had the removal, and then your opponent suddenly was forced to interact with you. So more 1-mana spells, the better.
We spoke about one deck's trying to go wide, one deck's trying to make one big creature.
Yep.
Omin's Chant. It's the combo deck. Stop them having a turn. It's got a little early text on there for if you pay the kicker, they don't have a combat step.
That's a good point as well, Will. So yeah, it's another option for Ethan. If your opponent, you see that they're setting up for a big turn, you can kind of put the screws to them by just saying you don't get a combat. Your turn it's a fog in that way.
Yeah. I'm not saying
Which
it's right,
that could matter.
I'm looking, and we've got 2 Blood Moons. They're definitely coming out, right? That's too easy.
Yeah, no, you don't want the Blood Moons here, especially you're going to be on the draw. It's probably paying 3 mana for a spell in this matchup is inadvisable.
So let's say that we're going to bring the Purge and we're going to bring the Wrath of the Skies in on that. Like, what else in this deck? I'm not huge on Ragavans on the draw, but maybe I want some number of them. Maybe I'll swap out 2 for 2 for the chance because I'm on the draw. It's am I really worried about lava darts too much? If I am, then maybe I want to bring in some graveyard hate. It's going to be interesting how they do it, but they're coming to the end of sideboarding now. So let's get down to that match and get into game number 2, round number 7, where we're trying to lock players into today's top 8 rounds of Swiss, then they're cut to top 8, and someone's going to be walking away with not only a bunch of money but an invite to our end of year championships, and they get to play for even more money, but also the title of 2025-20/26 season winner. And I guess we'll throw in a Pro Tour invite. Why not?
Why not?
I don't know if you've seen it, or you've definitely seen it, but chat might not have seen it. But one thing I've always looked in, this is before I got the gig cast in the NRG events, I always looked in from the outside. I love the detail that's put into that invite. Every player gets a nice little frame, NRG, their name in it, and it's got the cards that they used throughout the year or the main key cards that got them to that point. It's a nice little momentum that you can go, you walk away with at the end of the day. Even if it doesn't go super well that weekend for you, you still get this really cool, unique gift. And I've always looked in, especially on this side of the globe, and gone, damn, that's pretty good. Plus, they get the nice swag jackets that go and you can wear them at all future events moving forward. All right, we're off to the races. Chad's just going to go land pass, and on the other side, Ethan's starting off with a Ragavan again. So some numbers of them have stayed in.
Yeah, and you have one here on turn 1. So Chad did not spend any mana yet. I didn't catch whether we actually moved to if we're on the instep here or not. That's what I would assume. So he does still have the opportunity to not get behind by a mana. Might have a piece of interaction here for Ragavan, or not. It looks like instead we're just going to go with a Surveil land.
I don't know. Like, if we've got an answer in hand, it's fine. Like next turn, potentially, I might go, Swift Spear into Lava Dart, something along those lines. The Ragavan's not doing much right now, but I do know it is a threat I need to answer at some point. I think I see double Slick Shot, land, Lava Dart, Dragon Rage Channeler, Mountain.
Yeah, not a lot of interaction.
I don't think it's a land on top. I'm going to go with that one. I didn't get a good look. Was it a bauble, maybe? Oh, it's a surgical.
Huh.
So that's coming out the sideboard. Worried about Flages, maybe.
Interesting. Not sure if the escaped Flage is necessarily... that's pretty late it feels like in this matchup, especially if you're on the play. You're trying to beat down, but does have the DRC to Chad, so is going to at least start some pressure. And this is a bombardment from Ethan, one of those 2 drops we talked about, and that does pull the Lava Dart trigger.
Yeah, this also kind of stops the Chad doing the control line.
Yeah,
of being able to take out all the creatures, because every single time you do that, at least these creatures would be turned into a point of damage, maybe more, especially if we followed it up with something like a Season Pyro, etc.
Nice play there by Chad, the way that worked out, and you're able to put the Corey Steel into the graveyard with the Surveil trigger, so you're up to 3 card types in your graveyard now for your Dragon Rage Channeler. And Ethan basically, while there is long-term value to the bombardment, by getting Ethan to commit to that and then having an answer to the Ragavan just sort of immediately meant that it's basically just sort of a turn taken off. And if you're Chad, you now have the opportunity to possibly power up your Dragon Rage Channeler, or not, just get in there for 1, but then tap out here, or rather probably plot a Slick Shot show off.
Next turn, if we can go double Slick Shot into, a Lightning Bolt with Surgical, with a Lava Dart in the bin, that adds up to a lot of damage. So Ethan's got to be aware of that. Potentially might not be able to tap out here. 1 mana, we're going to start off with a Guide of Souls. Saw the work that was able to do into the Ocelot Pride. Do have the Lava Dart in the graveyard, remember? This could gain a life. I think the triggers are going on the stack, or at least the Ocelot Pride is on the stack right now. Not much we can do unless we go Lava Dart, sacrificing one of our mountains to Surveil and hit another Lava Dart.
I like what you're thinking.
That's our job, right? We got to think of the outs. What are the players thinking here? Like, what's the line I could do? Is that even good? All that effort just for them to go sacrifice it, ping you for 1. You know what I mean?
My kingdom for a gut shot. All right, it does happen though. So Ethan now able to use that bombardment to its fullest potential.
Yeah, especially with end of turn, we can end up getting a cat token if we're allowed to get there, which means we might be cashing this Lava Dart in either way to get the Ocelot Pride off the board. And yeah, that is what we're going to do.
Yep.
Shoot this before the end step. Surveil trigger. But in response to the Surveil trigger, we're going to get to shoot the Darcy off the board.
Yeah, the end result.
I was another Lava Dart.
You called it, Will. Look at that.
Played you outs. Not even, it wasn't even a good out, but it was definitely a thing that could have happened. But
we'll see what it does here. The end result of all of that is Ethan still with the Guide of Souls in play, along with that bombardment, and Chad needing to find another body. I guess we have access to the Slickshot show off. So I guess it's more of a question of does he want to go for it now or not? Because remember, bombardment makes just everything far more complicated.
I think we can get 11 of damage across the line here. I think if we went play the slot slick shot, play the slick shot in hand, surgical anything, and then lava dart. I think that's double trigger, so that means they both get +4 +0. They're a point themselves, which puts us up to 10. Lava dart's another point. That's 11. I feel like we've got to apply pressure, but I also feel like we can't cross the line right now.
All right, Dragon Rage Channeler.
Yeah, we're gonna play a little bit slower. That's fine. Do we have delirium? We got creature. We've got land. We've got artifact. We've got instant. So it's going to be a 3/3.
So is that a 1/1 token? Do we believe for Ethan, or is that his energy?
Energy. That's energy.
That's what I believe. That's what I thought. So not able to jump anything without more triggers here. Not really an abundance of extra energy to dump into the Guide of Souls, but does get a window here because of the second plotted show off from Chad, really setting up for next turn.
Yeah, Ethan's kind of in this rough spot. I want to be deploying threats. I want to be gaining life. I want to be gaining energy. But also, if I tap out, I might just die next turn. Dash Ragavan. I would say sure. I would also say move to blocks. Do we have land into creature? To get the third energy that we need to be able to jump? We do not. So we're going to turn this sideways. Block.
Now we're playing limited.
What?
Land artifact instant. Is that what's in there?
There's Dragon Age Chandler in there, isn't there? The first one.
Yep.
We've got delirium. Oh, we sacrificed the Guide of Souls to get the extra point.
To finish it off. So the end result of all of that is the board state actually completely devoid of creatures, but the plot zone pretty stocked.
Yeah. Look, you got to do what you got to do at times. Ethan's trying to hold in there, trying to be the control deck if needs be, but having no creatures on the board now, double slick shot over there. Ethan's down to 13. Dragon Age Chandler is going to be the third one of the game. I wonder. Chad's playing this so much more patiently than I would.
Well, he feels like he knows Ethan is on almost no cards here.
It's probably the right thing to do. Let's be honest. Yeah. I'm very aggressive. I would try to high roll it because I named the Lava Dart a second ago. I think I would have drawn a card, and if it was like any 1-mana spell, which would have been the a preordain, I could have gone plot, played that, and then that would have been double trigger into Diver Dart, into Surgical, which would have been lethal last turn while Ethan was tapped out. But here we are. You know what I mean? Lot on the line. Needs the win more than Ethan does. Chad,
he may have been thinking about things like, Wrath of the Skies or something that if I don't have lethal immediately, I want to maybe play a little slower. Because this is probably going to be good enough because it is still quite a bit of damage here. Your life total was at 18.
Well, my argument there is if I didn't hit it, let's say I drew my card and I didn't have it, then I would just play my Dragon Age Channel and pass the turn anyway. But if I do draw that one shot, I've got the lethal this turn. The only thing I guess I'm playing around at that point is a Solitude. If they, some lists I've seen play it in the past, it's very niche and not something you really would play around in this deck. But covering all bases, and I say a lot on the line, a lot of pressure on the line as well. Remember, this is we think it's the top 8. One of these players is able to ID the last round and get themselves into that top 8. Ethan did get paired down. So preordain to preordain, double triggers. Have we only played one of these?
Yes.
Okay. Playing it a little
playing this as safe as possible. Does not want to give up that extra creature in case something catastrophic happens on board. At least that's my read of this here. We put the spell snare. Those did come in. Those hit we see another one there. Those are both going to go to the bottom on this.
Yeah, we're looking for lightning bolts. Lightning bolts, lava darts. All these things are going to do great. Go to combat. Chan did come in. You cannot have a combat step. That wouldn't have been an issue if we did it last turn. But it's fine. We lived another day. Ethan's still trying to hit that third land. You can't imagine he's got some good free drops in the grip. How
And
about a Wrath of the
Raptors guys.
Skies? We got 2 energy. That's enough to do it. You were talking about that. It was all going to get rid of the Goblin Bombardment, but now the shields are down. Ethan is on 18 life. That is a big ask to get there with just one show off.
He was patient, was Chad, and I guess he's rewarded in the sense that he has this flick shot show off after it. You gave Ethan some extra turns there, but maybe it's okay because this is, if things went poorly for you, you thought this was where you're going to end up. Now we're looking at the top 3 here. I think I spot a cutter in there, which hits the hand.
Special iteration.
Yeah.
1 in XL, 1 in the bottom, 1 into the hand. Still got a land drop for the turn, so I think it's going to be the steam vents. It is. Are we going to shuck it in? Remember, we are up against Boris Energy. We know that can do a lot of damage the longer the game goes. Just going to get in there for 3 points. This is giving another opening to Ethan to get back into this game. Really could do with this third land. I can't make out what's in the hand, but I'm going to say there's a Flage in there because there's always a Flage
If
in
it's
there.
land Flage and you get rid of the show off, we're back to the Is It Prowess deck having no creatures, and then you might have all kinds of time if you're Ethan. And by that, I mean, a couple of turns to get back on the board. But once Flage gets involved at all, we're deep into the game. And instead, Bombardment kind of does a similar thing here. Gets rid of another flick shot show off, live to fight another turn.
There's another chant in hand as well. I did manage to make that one out. They got the nice full art ones. Fetch over on Chad's side. We've got the classic screw versus flood here.
Yeah, so the Is It Prowess deck, we call it Is It Prowess. The deck only has 4 Prowess cards in it at this point, the Monastery Swift Spears, but it's got that core of 12 creatures. And if you could just deal with its creatures, it has a somewhat difficult time pushing through damage to finish you off. If you're at 15, maybe if you're at 5, it can get there, but at 15, you've got a shot. So look at this. In response to the Corey Steel Cutter, Orum's chance, no token this turn.
Yep, can't play your second spell now. And Chad's like, okay, awkward. Preordain in hand plus that surgical. And we were speaking all day about surgical extraction and bringing it in and like how it's probably one of the most, I keep saying it's one of the most over-sideboarded cards in Magic. And when it's great, it's great. But in this situation, it's just been stuck in the hand from Chad since the opening turn. So did that undo the mana? End of turn's going to crack that party, is it? Draw a card, finds another slick shot. So slick shot spell 1 into preordain spell 2. That gives us 2 guys.
This might be a Corey Steel Cutter game for Chad, the way it's lining up, because he has the potential to make a token this turn. The preordain means you're probably going to get more gas. You'll be able to make more tokens next turn. The slick shot show off is going to demand removal from Ethan.
Murktide. I thought I saw a Murktide, but like they're in the sideboard. Looks like they've came in. How big are we going to be able to make it? We've got 1 instant, 2, 3. Yeah, we've got enough. We can make this big. We can make this almost unanswerable from Ethan. I'm having a little check to see how many stack prisons, and there's only 1 in the list. Other than that, it needs to be a huge galvanic discharge to get it off the board.
This is kind of fascinating the way that Chad chose to play this. I thought surely on the play, you want to go fast, you want to get there. Your core seals your late game plan, but no, he went for the Murktide Regents. Decided if we're just going to remove each other's creatures and trade over the first 5 turns, maybe the best play after that is to go back to turn my Is It Prowess deck back to an old Is It Murktide list because this Murktide is going to look really good.
Yeah, you got to imagine it's going to be, but then we also got to try and navigate it so we can kind of keep Delirium in there. A lot of our cards can interact with Delirium. That's the Dragon Age Channelers, as well as, of course, the Violent Urge and Unholy Heat, as you mentioned. So I think that's 3. So this is going to make it a 6/6.
Yeah, the window for Ethan to get there with Flage might be passing, especially because of that surgical. I mean, I say because of that surgical, not to say that the surgical being a different card earlier might not have closed the match faster, but as it stands now, it's Flage is, you're not necessarily just going to go land 3, land 4, Flage to get back into this.
Yeah, it's got to be good, whatever it is. Well, we find the land. Let's get him cracked straight away. Imagine it's, not even getting a basic. We're going to go get a Foundry here, so that's going to drop us down another 3 life points. Maybe we've got a Season Pyro. Paying Flage into the bin. Going
Yeah.
up the board a little bit, even though two of the big ones right now are Flyers and the other one's got Trample. But it's going to be a Fraving Charm and a Season Pyro going to the bin, making 2 1/1s, which will mean that we gain 3 life. Because remember, the Guide of Souls is on the board. 2 tokens plus the Season Pyro will be 3 life, 3 energy. 2 more cards drawn for Ethan. Chad's got to be happy that there's no Flajo for hanging around over there.
That's right. After all that talk of it, it never did, in fact, show up in this one.
Nice tokens. And then passing the turn back. Now, can we get across the board? If we're at 12, there is 7 in the air, 2 on the ground with Trample. We've got the Surgical. We know that that's an extra 2. We've got the Steel Cutter. That's another 2. We've got Preordain. That's I imagine we've got enough to go across the line here.
Yeah, and he can go Corey Steele into Preordain. It's just that these triggers are going to go, and then it might still keep going.
Get the dice on that Slick Shot. Make sure remember how many triggers we've got, because remember the monks have also got prowess.
All right, so there's spell number 1. There's spell number 2 for Chad. That causes a couple of triggers across the board here as the power ticks up very quickly.
Yeah, because there's 2 of them, we get 2 monks, and we just move the equipments across to give them the new ones haste and +1/+1. But I think that's what we're deciding. Maybe I don't want to do that. Maybe I want this one to have it, but no, it looks like we don't. It looks like it does want a fresh creature, one of these monks. Then we're going to scry 2, draw 1. I see a Bauble. I like the idea of that Bauble to get some more triggers. Plus the Surgical we've got in hand, but then do we need to give that information away to Ethan that we brought Surgicals in? We were speaking about Flage, and if we discarded then off the Season Pyro potentially coming back out of the graveyard, but he had that covered.
Yeah, quite the stacked board here.
1 top, 1 bottom. It's got to be
so. Chad is up to 5 on the Slick Shot. He's got I think.
Oh, and a Lava Dart. Oh yeah,
we have to be able to find lethal here. Yeah, this Lava Dart's been hiding out for quite a while. Believe that in fact is the one that got surveilled into the graveyard earlier, as you called. So and here comes up clutch.
Slick Shot 7 now. These have all got Trample. Remember that are equipped. Even just go through the motions.
Make them turn them sideways.
Yep. We're going to play the Bauble from hand as well, but hold on to the Surgical.
And this game 3 should be really interesting given the way this one played out and how long it went and how grindy it was to the point we got to the Corey Steele Murktide level of things. Interesting to see I'm very interested to see how this one plays out on the other side if we see Ethan back on the draw or on the play here in game 3, because his deck looked dominant in game 1 on the play.
I don't think however you want to cut this up, Ethan. I'm pretty sure you're dead 6 weeks on Sunday. Still, it's 9 plus 7 in the air. So that's 16 in the air. Then there's
you can throw a couple away to get rid of the show off, maybe. Or no, the bombardment's not even there.
You can't, show off's not flying. You can't do any of it.
Well, the bombardment's gone. So you're right.
Yeah.
So there's just no way there for Ethan. Nothing.
It's fine.
And on to game 3 we go.
Yeah, exactly. They've worked it out. We get a game 3. That's great. Where they're going to look at their sideboards and shuffle up because they saw a few more cards there. Noted, kept the Surgical in hand. Didn't play it all game, but hasn't given the information away that came in. So we're going to have a look at their sideboards as well. But first, before we do that, I've got some questions for you, Corbin.
Yes.
Do you like the NRG series?
I do.
Do you like Magic Online?
I do. 2 for 2.
How about what if I told you we could blend both of them and you could play and qualify for the NRG Series Invitational at the end of the year? Because that is what is happening. First time it's ever going to be happen. We can do that. You can scan that QR code right now on the screen to go to the website and see all the information, but the basics are there for you. 9th of November. Look at the calendar. Boom. That's next week today, 7 days. Edge of Eternal sealed, $2,500 on the line, and more importantly, NRG points for the leaderboard and that quality Win it, you get an invite to the championship, 24-player invite only, $35,000 PT invite. Only stipulation, and this is just for this one, at least at the minute, it's just this one. We don't know how the others are going to work out. You need to be North America or Canadian to play in this. I can't play in it. I think they've done it against me, Corbin. I think they were like, no, Will, you're too powerful. You cannot do this. Because I'm looking for a reason to fly out there. I want to come over. I want to play in a Nerd Rage gaming event. But, you know, they keep holding me back. They keep hitting me in the booth. And when they don't put me in the booth, they tell me I can't play from across the pond. It sucks.
I have to say that one did not work out well for you, but get on over here. Come and check out an NRG event. And of course, the schedule will be announced soon, exactly dates for next year. But we do have that 2026 structure we can look at because there will be 4 NRG Championship Series weekends in person. Each weekend will include a Tim K team showdown. We've been talking about how much we love team events. Well, each weekend you're going to have one. So put 4 of those in your plans for next year. And of course, some $2,500, $2,500 individual trials each weekend. And this is what is being teased with this event next week. Next year, there will be 4 MTGO showdowns that you can do in our G Series X Magic the Gathering Online, and all of those can qualify you for the championship. 24 players playing for $35,000 and that Pro Tour invite at the end of the year. That's what all these players are playing for now, because you know what? Our championship for this season is just a month away. We talked about everything that goes along with that. You mentioned earlier how it really feels special. And I think that that's probably the thing to me that defines the NRG championship, is how individualized it is, right? Sort of how unique it is, from the jackets, which are just sick. Everyone talks about.
No one else does it. No one else does it. You know what I mean? Turning up with those championship jackets. People know you're good when you walk in the room. You don't just have to prove it. You're like, I've already proved it. And that's like a sign for it. You think of wrestling, they have belts. Magic, we have NRG jackets that go along with all the other gibbons that come along. I do want to point out, which is something I really like. So Norm, the guy that does NRG, he is NRG, let's be honest, said the formats aren't locked in. These formats can change. Okay, they're working with Wizards on this, and it's basically we get to pick on the health of the format. At the minute, some formats are healthier than others, so we would pick the healthy ones. But especially on these trials, if you like a bit of Pauper, well, guess what? One of these could end up being Pauper. You like a little bit of Legacy? One of these could be Legacy. Okay, these aren't locked into what they're going to be. And of course, it's all going to be coming to you on this channel. So make sure you hit that follow button if you haven't, so you stick around and find out every time we go live. And while you're at it, go across to the socials, give them a follow, because the bigger these channels do, the better these streams do, the more money that gets pumped into them, the more money. It's better for the players. It's better for everybody that is involved. So if you're enjoying it, please hit that follow button and support the NRG, as it looks like players have got their opening hands. Chad is deciding on a mold of 6 what he wants to do. And Ethan, well, we're starting off with the Ragavan turn 1, and of course on the play, exactly how you want to write it up.
Yep, ideal start. In fact, I don't know the win percentages of the Boros Energy deck with a Ragavan versus without a Ragavan, but it's probably the biggest gulf in sort of any lines the deck can take, I would imagine.
Well, the last Red and 6 is floating around in the format as well these days. So
that's true.
You know what I mean? See how we get on. We're going to having to use a lightning bolt is not ideal. You do want to be using your lava darts in that situation, but you also don't want to have a Ragavan connect. But Ethan's like, sure, well, I've got a follow up. Got another one.
Double Ragavan's pretty good for Ethan here, really pushing that advantage. And unlike some of the other matchups we've seen with Ragavan, Ragavan connecting against Izzet Prowess is likely to yield you a bunch of cards you can actually cast.
Corbin, I think we kept a one lander.
Oh no.
We've got a preordain if we needs be, but we really want to get a threat on the board and follow up with being able to remove that Ragavan.
Can't blame the keep. You had one land and you're on the draw. That's 2 shots at it, and possibly that preordain. He looked at the top of his own deck there with that bobble to decide what to do, because there's a Ragavan hit coming in if you don't interact with it. But you probably just got a preordain for land here.
Yeah, I'm wondering about, like, so why would I be doing the bauble first? Is what I'm trying to work out.
The only thing that makes sense to me is if there's some kind of blank on top that you can let Ethan take, and or maybe you're planning on shooting the Ragavan if you're going to hit land on top, is maybe the way Chad was looking. Like, can I miss the land drop this turn in exchange for taking Ragavan off the board? I don't know. Maybe You want to be able to see what what you're going to preordain into if it's
Mhm.
good. An interesting line there, but it does in fact still end with a second land drop for Chad. So he does, depending on his hand, still have a chance to interact with Ragavan.
Yeah, I feel like it was lightning bolt land. I might have just kept the bolt on top and then go to my upkeep, draw off the bauble, which would have been the lightning bolts. And I've got the answers to the Ragavan, so you've got to imagine we've got an answer to the Ragavan already. No, but then I could crack this, get him out in, and then I could lightning bolt the Ragavan. And we're kind of back to where we were in that first game.
That's
Oh,
right.
not the first game, the first turn, except for now Ethan's potentially going to have 3 mana and something scary to cast this turn. So we are fetching. We're going to take the full 3 point, and it's going to be Unholy Heat taking out that Ragavan. 2 damage. Oh, we might even have we've got instant sorcery. Yeah, we even have delirium there. So it will be 6 damage getting down to that Ragavan. Land, fetch.
This game is certainly grinding these first couple turns.
Yeah, players are moving fast though, so I'd be interested to see what's on the clock. Maybe production can give me a little insight on what's on the clock.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is where those surgicals might matter.
If they stayed in. You got to imagine they're in. All right, we're less than 10 minutes on the clock, I'm being told. So that's why I think why we're seeing both players move a little bit quicker here. Chad needs to get, both players need to get a threat on the board. At the minute, it's just going back and forth. You know, you've got that, great, I'll answer that. You've got that, great, I'll answer that. But normally that favors the player that's got Flages in their graveyard, especially if we can get to that 4th land and 5 cards in the bin. Do you see a Dragon's Chandler? Do you see a Preordain? Maybe that's a nice way of kind of scalping the top of our deck and setting up for future turns. Does it add a threat?
1, 2, 3, 4 cards.
Ooh,
I believe
there's a Murkside.
5. So Ethan does have the ability with land to escape Flage as well. So like if you're Chad here, maybe you don't want to expose your Dragon Rage Channeler to just sort of that straightforward of a play, or at the very least you want to think about it, because at 5 and 1 he does not have the loss to give that Ethan does.
So I remember we're at 12 life as well. Do we play a Murktide, which would be, I believe, a 5 power? I think it's sorcery instance, right? Or was it non? Let me have a little look at that card. It is, yes, so it would be a 5 powered flyer, which would be out of Ragavan's Flage sort of territory, which we are going to do. It's going to cost us a life point for our trouble. Come and play with, is it 3? Unholy Heat. What was the other card? Preordain, Unholy Heat. Oh, and Lightning Bolt. So yeah, it would be 3. So it is going to be 6. And then we're going to bauble. So we've got the threat on the board, and it's a hard one for Ethan to get off the board. Don't get me wrong. Something like an Arena of Glory here would be huge. That's an Arena of Glory. This is huge. That is not what Chad wants to see. 3 damage. Go to combat, attack. 3 more damage. That's going to be 6 life gained, plus your whole turn gone, wasted. This is huge here. Chad can do nothing but shake his head. This is rough. I don't know if we can get back into it. We cannot deal 24 in this one turn.
Perfect play from Ethan. Just straightforward as you can be. Turn 3 Flage, turn 4 Hasty Flage. That's 3 Flage triggers in 2 turns, and that's pretty good against a deck full of creatures.
Well, the problem is as well, we nuked our graveyard. We can't even get an Unholy Heat. We've got no Delirium. We've got Sorcery, we've got Creature, we've got Artifact.
It looked like a Violent Urge in there. That's not going to
that one
help.
We need Unholy Heat, and we need another type in the graveyard. And that's just to survive.
Yeah, that's a bottom from that.
Oh, that was the
Unholy Heat.
Okay. Oh, no, because we still can't. Okay, we have to hit a fetch land. We do that. We do Surveil twice. Scry twice. Need to hit a fetch land. Crack the fetch for a mountain. That's the fetch land. Oh, okay.
Big line here from Chad. You're right. He's going to be able to crack the fetch, have Delirium, get Flage off the board. I guess at the very least, the Arena of Glory stays tapped because it was exerted. So Ethan will have a little less to work with.
And yeah, maybe if it's just got all lands in hand, 3 cards, can have a 4 for the turn. You know what I mean? This isn't great, but it's the best we can do. We still get to play Magic. Finds. Yeah, you got to imagine the snare's going to go to the bottom. But then if the life totals are correct and we're at 4, we fetch down to 3, which means any other Flages are lethal.
Yeah.
We're going to pass the turn.
Yeah, it's still that was what Chad needed to stick around in it, but it may or may not actually be enough, given the fact that Ethan just needs any lightning bolt to finish it off and has a grip of cards.
Okay, well, we do this as before we go to combat, which is good. So in case there was a raggy round or something crazy like that, we're going to go Unholy Heat down to 3. Ethan is just going to show a flage, another flage to the face.
There we
That's nothing
go.
he can do. He's going to take it. He's going to advance to 7-0, undefeated today. And that probably is going to lock him as first seed going into today's top 8. So congratulations to him, Chad. It was rough. You know what I mean? Like you had the line, you played the 2 out, and you just got absolutely blown out. It turns out Flage is quite good. Whoever designed that card, I think they should have some stern words spoken to them. Not going to say who that is in the slightest, but again, a huge congrats. But the good thing about this, we're in the NRG series. We have backup feature matches for you all. We record 2 games, so we can not play that. I'm being told we're not going to do that. We're going to have to, because the time on the round's going pretty long. So we're going to have a short break, and then when we come back, we'll have round 8, the last round of Swiss, before we get to that top 8 and find out which players are going to battle out to try and get to our end of year invitational. So I'm Will, that's Corbin. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you shortly.